seriously think at the moment that some big things could be happening in VR. Some big things could be happening, and that leads me to talking to Brad, because Brad is like, I can't even make sense of half the shit he talks about on Twitter, so I just wait to talk to him. So, is Valve bringing us a new headset or what, dude? And are they going to release it on MetaConnect? Like, what's actually happening? What do you think's going to happen?
I did. The unfortunate thing is, before I get into all this, because I do want to kind of talk about this real quick, I did a stream like a few days ago, and that stream is already irrelevant, basically. That's how fast these things have been moving this week. We basically, right after I did that stream, which I did because we had a bunch of new information about a new product of some sort. Literally the day after, a bunch of stuff came out that like changed everything related to what Valve is doing right now in terms of productizing things. And it's gonna be really strange because it's very likely that Valve is looking at releasing a console type device that will be able to run PCVR wirelessly, to probably focus on the Deckard HMD. But what makes me more interested is if they have a subsidized console that can run PCVR games wirelessly, there's probably not stopping people with Quest 3s or Quest 2s or other subsidized headsets from also plugging into this subsidized console and making the barrier to entry for PCVR much easier.
Let me grab the picture, because you actually found a picture of it, I believe, as well.
So yeah, the picture I uploaded is actually a prototype from 2019. We knew that Valve was looking into the ideas of doing a Steam machines again. I mean, they've had a lot of success with their partnership with AMD and doing the Steam Deck. Now, the curious thing is, them doing this strategy likely means that the HMD they're working on, it actually explains everything. It's unbelievable that it took this long to find out about this console device. The HMD they would have is purely, it does have a chip inside like an XR2 or something, but it's purely focused on the split task of like connecting to this console, or I guess a PC already have if you don't need this console, and just streaming wireless PC VR.
Nice.
So it makes me think, like, there's all the news about a $200 Quest headset coming next year, like a Quest 3 Lite. Would this be, like you said, depending on pricing, which I'm pretty sure they subsidize the Steam Deck already. They could probably subsidize a home console to get whatever they want done here. You don't have the screen or anything involved. Would that be like disruptive enough to lowering the barrier to entry for like Meta to not want to do stuff like AirLink or let virtual desktop on the store? Because like it's already kind of a niche thing to do PCVR on like a Quest, like obviously because of the cost of entry. Or it's literally if the PS5 just announced one day that you can do AirLink with your Quest 3 to that, right? It's like the same concept. So it's just been wild. And there's a lot of stuff going on with there's this random, I don't want to say random, Valve created this sub, which a sub is like a group of apps and things that they can attach to it. Usually they do these subs, like they can give it to developers to have a variety of things to test out internally or externally, whatever they're working on. And they've been adding a bunch of VR games, such as Half-Life Alyx, which is the first game they added to the sub, and a bunch of the main ones that you would expect. They recently added No Man's Sky to it, for example. They added Microsoft Flight Simulator, and probably testing all those VR games all on this console with brand new, custom silicon going on here.
That's crazy. I mean, what would be for you then, describing this, the price point that you would expect? And I do want to dig into why you I mean, obviously you also focus on the VR side of things because that's what you're into. Do you think that's a major point for them, this thing? Because obviously they're going to potentially release a headset, which is, as we talked about, potentially standalone and PC. And then, for example, I mean, this is like a bit of a takeover scenario you're looking at now, because this is like fucking, this is handheld.
They're doing everything
this
right
is
now.
headset.
Yeah, they're doing handheld. They're doing home console. They're doing VR. It's really wild.
It is wild. It's fucking wild. Actually, like when you sum that up, you're like, oh shit.
This is it sounds like a really, really good idea to me
Oh yeah,
because
yeah,
PCs, like people talk about PC gaming and like you talk about a PC, like a PC does more than games. It does all kinds of stuff. It's built and has parts and components for tons of different tasks, and that makes these things more expensive, or I don't know, maybe like less attractive to somebody who is like only wanting to buy a gaming device. But if you could buy a console that is a PC, like it's a PC console and now runs everything that PCs run, but is sleek and is has a standard hardware across the board, so developers can make experiences that give players the same fucking thing as they all expect. And I don't know, like it sounds like a really good idea. I think if they come out with this, that a lot of people who are gamers who have been writing off the PC world, not just VR, but like PC gaming in general, will be eyeballing this and being like, oh, damn, like now I might actually be able to get into some of this high end stuff.
Going back to the VR side of things, it's I remember there was this one report back in like 2019 that like Valve and Apple were like seriously talking to each other about like kind of sharing their ideas for future VR and stuff. Some sort of collaboration. I don't know how far it went. I'm gonna call the console like a base station for now, because it's basically if you're only using it with a VR headset, that's kind of what it is. Apple, before they switched to the everything on the headset design that they went with, that's the product now, they were actually going headfirst into that same idea where they would have lighter processing on the headset and then wirelessly stream to a powerful base station wirelessly. So it's interesting that Apple did not go with it, and Valve is seemingly heading toward what Apple didn't deem was good enough for consumers. Another thing is Valve doesn't make Lighthouse base stations anymore. They pretty much stopped that earlier this year. We're talking about like buying a console and then buying the headset, but there literally could be a scenario where because they got rid of those Lighthouse space stations, they can include this console in the box with every headset if it's really that dedicated to VR, right? Like all in one system, even though it's split.
yeah. I mean, I would say we've seen this before, didn't we? Like Xbox kind of was the idea of a PC and a console. That was where that kind of come from. But I don't know, like I've seen people write some stuff in the chat. Obviously Steam itself as a software is incredible. Like all the biggest games are there and stuff. It's not even the same scenario, but I'm thinking around $1,000 for something like this. I've seen some people say they need to undercut Xbox and they need to undercut PlayStation. I actually see them doing kind of not that. I kind of see them doing this and saying, look, we're Valve, like we do good shit like this, and if you want to be part of this new good shit thing, like this is where you need to be. But yeah, dude, like it's kind of crazy to think they're kind of doing a technology takeover. And I didn't think of that until now. I feel like a bit of an idiot because obviously, I've known about all the things and then suddenly I've added them all up and I'm like, oh, that's crazy.
Content is king, right? This is something that we've known for a long time. Like something can come out and if it doesn't have like content to support it, then it's kind of dead in the water. Now this is kind of a bad example after immediately making that point, but then when the Nintendo Switch launched, there was Breath of the Wild. Like that's it. That's like all you could get on this thing. And unless you were playing Zelda, you really had zero reason to own a Switch. And that is not the case here with Valve, with the Steam library. Like that is infinite content, infinite games. Like the second that console comes out, you can play the newest, craziest, or the oldest and most classic. Like everything would be at your fingertips.
The triangulator just dropped like we're Valve, and if you want Half-Life 3, this is our new headset and console. Like he's absolutely right, dude. I mean, people bought an Index literally just to play one game.
But didn't you say that there's nothing that is indicating a standalone device now?
Yeah, I should. Yeah. The headset probably would still require a PC or that console to like actually run things you would want to run. Yeah.
I don't think that's a bad move. I don't think that's bad.
It fits them. It fits Valve. Yeah.
I think so. Either technology's not up to their standard. Do you know what I mean? I imagine that's probably what it is to make it cost effective. Because I guess there's only so so far you can push people to expect to pay for something. And then you got the weight factor as well. Like,
Yeah.
I said, using this crystal, dude. Like, I haven't finished my video. I've still got a long way to go, but it is cumbersome, I think is the word to say. It's cumbersome.
That's a good word.
It's the wrong direction in 2023. The headset should be getting lighter and not heavier.
Yeah, what is Quest 3? Quest 3 is apparently like half a kilo. Let's say that for now, half a kilo. I think to be going over half a kilo is you need to look at yourself and be like, right, what's going on? You know, surely you want people to be feeling more immersed by not necessarily knowing that these things are even on their heads. This is where I'm struggling with it. I kind of like it, but there's 100% of the time I know I'm wearing it. Seems like Valve is following the PSVR 2 model. What do you think about that?
Yeah, but I think, I mean, technically, on a basic level, sort of, I know you're going to be able to still like connect Deckard if you have like a souped up PC still. And like I said, I really do think people will figure out how to connect their Quest 3 or whatever to it one day. I can totally see if this console does well enough, Guy Gooden would totally make a Linux version of the virtual desktop streamer. It's like a PS5 or PSVR 2, but way more open.